Good late morning, early afternoon. It's around 11:30ish. 11:20, 11:30, somewhere around there. We're going to do some American Cozy reading. Um, I was thinking about doing just a simple life update vlog. So I'm just going to do a quick life update and then we'll get into American Cozy. Today is Monday. I have a 1 o'clock appointment with the dealership to have my car gone through a safety inspection for, Missouri State requires you to do a safety inspection every so often, every couple of years or so, just for their emissions and their safety checks for your vehicle registration or tags or whatever it is, licensing, whatever it is. But that's due, so I got to do that today. Yesterday was kind of a rough day because both Jerry was having all kinds of issues and Mom was having mom issues, and between the two of them colliding on top of me, I couldn't take it, so I had to leave the house for a short period of time just to be away from everybody, to be secluded, kind of in my vehicle, parked in a parking lot or someplace semi-secluded so people wouldn't bug me and I can just process. Because sometimes when there's so much information coming in at once, whether it's her needs because of her aches and pains or Mom's needs because of something went wrong with her TV or her computer or whatever, I get this like feeling of being overwhelmed and bombarded with no way of dealing with it. And sometimes I have to just go away to deal with it, because even if I were to stay home here in my office, whether I tell either one of them I need time alone, either A, she's going to think it's been too long, or Mom's just not even going to work, not even, just coming, knocking on my door, hey, can you do this? And I'll snap. And I didn't want to do that because I was already being snappy or snippy or whatever with Jerry because of all her issues. But the day ended fairly well because I got out, I recouped, I blew off, I basically vented to the universe. And then the universe answered by sending me a beautiful hawk that flew overhead in my field of vision into a tree next to me, and then flew off into the field and swooped down on top of something. So that alone just kind of makes me go, release. And then, of course, I read some comments. One particular person wanted to be argumentative, and I didn't want to deal with it. And then in the morning time, I did a question answered blog, because one particular person asked me 4 different questions in one comment. I don't want to say paragraph because it wasn't that long, but it was some legitimate questions, so I answered them. And then I had somebody else that I think might be fairly new to my channel said that they would be interested to hear my opinions about the end times, and I kind of went, ooh, that's going to require some research and some more reading. I'm in the middle of American Cozy. I'm almost done. So I was like, okay. I wrote that down as like, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the end times, in my opinion, and the different theology and mythology groups that talk about their version of the end time. So that's going to take some lovely comparison and reading and whatnot. But yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I think that will be the next a next area that I talk about, even though it will probably be very controversial, and a lot of different people will either want to leave my channel or want to debate what I'm reading, which is fine, as long as it's as long as it's not aggressive or hostile or perceived as aggression or hostility. I'll be more than happy to deal with comments that might seem to be controversial or something along that line. But yeah, I mean, yes, yesterday started in a bad way, between lack of sleep and all the different conditions that end up for me, because of the fact that I'm still learning to control my negative aggressions and whatnot. Was a trying day, which is kind of funny too, because when I woke up Sunday and I did my vlog, my questions answered. I wanted to start reading from Revelations and start doing, before this comment about wanting to hear about my opinion on the end times, or my take on the end times. I was going to start reading Revelations yesterday, but then things went awry, and that's probably one of the things that got me a little upset. But anyhow, let's get into American Cozy. We are reading about how to cozify your kitchen. And I think I read this, but I'm going to reread this because I don't remember if I read this. So, no, I did read, I think I did that. I'm just going to put it out there because I don't remember if I read this or not, without having to go back to my last video. But this is Mindful Rules of Eating. And now that I just read that title, I think I did read this. Those of you who watch my videos and listen to everything I say about the American Cozy Factor, if in my last video you did not hear me read something entitled Mindful Eating Rules, let me know and I'll go back to this. But yeah, I did read this. Now that I read some of it, I think I did read this. But anyhow, this part is called Creating Togetherness When You Can't Have a Family Meal. And I read it and I was kind of like, oh, okay, that's very interesting. I'm sorry, my brain... Alright, sorry folks. Anyhow, I read it, the area, and I underlined and highlighted a few things. One of the things she says is keep things cozy while accommodating different schedules. In her household, basically, she says, in our household, we have to hit upon a compromise: 2 dinner periods, 1 meal choice. So basically what she means by that is because of the factor of the scheduling of her kids being home and her lifestyle, basically what she has to deal with in her home, is she has a early evening, 6:15, she'll have a meal prepped, and the first few people that come in, she'll sit there and just have a glass of water while they have their meal. And then at 7:30, when everybody else comes home, she'll sit down with the people who haven't eaten and have her meal with them. That way the first time around, she's not eating, or she might pick a little bit, but she can have some time with that person or persons to just have time together to, hey, what was your day like? How was your day? What's going on at school? And the second time around, she'll actually have a full meal while enjoying the company of the other person or persons, and see how their day went. So there's nothing wrong with having 2 different meals, as long as you, the person who is basically the cook, meal prep person, does not eat too much. I mean, you can have a small portion the first time around while talking with your husband or your kids, and then the second meal you can have a second helping or portion while talking with the other person or persons who sat down for that meal. So it doesn't sound too bad. Then I marked here that says, while you may hit upon your own schedule, or your own solution, here are some ideas you may find helpful for creating togetherness when you cannot all be at the table at the same time. First one, it says, do not make different meals for different diners. Regardless of when people eat, they get the same meal as those who ate earlier. Try to make one item, an entree or side dish, that each family member enjoys. So basically, you cook one meal, you have at least one side dish or the main dish itself that everybody enjoys, and then the people who eat later can pick and choose from what you made for the whole family. Usually, I've done this before. I've actually done this once before, and what I would do is I would make the main entree, the meat portion, that everybody that here in the house likes, and then I'll make 3 or 4 different side dishes, because Mom doesn't always like greens. Depending on what the green is, she gets tired of broccoli every day, which I can understand. Jerry can't eat corn, but I love corn. And then maybe like, well, corn would be the starch dish, but maybe like either mashed potatoes, garlic buttered sliced potatoes, or au gratin. Can't go wrong with potatoes, even though some people can't eat white potatoes. I like white potatoes. Jerry likes sweet potatoes, but she can't eat that much sweet potatoes because of the carbs and whatnot that are in the actual sweet potato, but they're better for her than white potatoes. Mom doesn't like sweet potatoes. I can eat sweet potatoes. You give me a sweet potato with lots and lots and lots of butter and cinnamon sugar, or some places serve it with fluff, which is basically whipped marshmallow cream. I'll eat it that way too. Let's see here. The second one. Make foods that can withstand hanging out for a while. Save fiddly foods such as souffle, or foods that must be eaten warm, such as fish, for holidays or other special occasions when everyone eats together. So basically, chicken, pork, beef, turkey, you can cook them and have them for your main meat course, and then have your side dishes, but save the fancy foods like souffle or fish, because they need to be eaten right away. Otherwise, they kind of reheated, they don't taste all that great. Or cold, cold fish. Blech. The only time I like cold fish is if it's like the shrimp and whatnot that I have in my sushi, but most of the time that's steamed, so it's not cold. It's steamed to cook out the bacteria and all of the nasty stuff, but it can be served chilled. So unless you're making your family sushi, don't have fish that's just sitting out for a while, because most fish is meant to be eaten warm. Unless, like I said, it's sushi, and even that is cooked to a certain degree, steamed or whatever. Let's see here. Sitting down with any stragglers while they eat, or putter in the kitchen while your stragglers eat. So basically, she's saying that if you have stragglers, you can sit down and talk with them or whatnot, or you can putter around in the kitchen and still be close enough for a conversation. Even though a lot of people say don't eat while you're talking because you can choke. So yeah, I would be careful about that. Next tip is basically, if dinner is a harder meal to eat together during the week, instate a regular Saturday pizza night or a Sunday midday meal, or have a family breakfast. The time of your family's meal does not matter. Basically, okay, let's say especially during the weekdays. During the weekdays, you got kids for school that are at school. You got a spouse or even yourself that works Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. A lot of times on the weekdays, it's really hard to get the family together for a meal. to have a full meal together as a family unit. That's why she suggests pizza night Saturday, or a midday meal on Sunday, or a breakfast on either day. Sometimes breakfast is easier because a lot of times on weekends, either one or more individuals within the house has plans to spend the day with their friends, especially if you have older children that are teenagers and whatnot, and they want to spend the weekends, their only day of free day without school, to go to the lake, to the local fishing hole, to the local pool, to the mall, whatever it is they're going to do, as long as they're not getting in trouble, hopefully. It's kind of hard to sit down on a Saturday with the family to say, hey, we're going to have dinner together. Be here. It'd be easier to just say, oh, you all are awake. You don't have, you got a couple of hours before your event opens up, or wherever you're going to go opens up. Let's sit down and have breakfast. Let's make breakfast. Let's have pancakes and eggs, or waffles and eggs, or whatever. Sunday is a good day for a family meal, because especially if you're your average American family, where you're good, hearty Christians, you get up in the morning time. Maybe your church has breakfast service. You go over there to get your continental breakfast, which is usually like cakes and cookies and breakfast type foods that aren't hot. They're not, unless they're doing a pancake or waffle morning service, where they're actually making waffles and pancakes. Usually by the time most families get out of church, they're hungry. And it's like, okay, what do we want to do for lunch? The church is not having a potluck. We're not going over to the aunt and uncle's house or grandparents' house or whoever's house for a brunch or whatever. Go home, make a meal together. Or maybe, like my family used to do, is Sunday, church is done, we're going over to Aunt Lee's house, or people are coming over to our house, we're going to have a little barbecue. In Arizona, you can have barbecue anytime you want. So it's kind of like, yeah, well, whatever. But the families gather together for a meal. At least one meal a week. It'd be nice if the family could get together for one meal a day, but that's not always possible. The last one she says here is, ditch the family meal for a post-dinner family snack. Our family enjoys a long-standing Friday movie night with homemade popcorn and hot lemonade. I'm not big on hot lemonade. Sorry. For anyone who happens to be home. Even my teenagers try not to miss this tradition. So yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, maybe it's virtually impossible to get everybody together for one meal. Do a Friday night movie if movies are not in the picture because of one reason or another. Family game night. We used to do in this house, and I want to get back to it now that things are kind of settling down. I want to get back into having family game night, where me, Mom, and Jay would come to the kitchen table and we would play Monopoly, or some of the board games. Monopoly, Try Dominoes, Skip-O, Clue. Well, I'm not a big fan of Clue, but Clue. We used to play trivia a lot, but I'm not a big trivia person, which is surprising because I like history and I like learning things, but trivia for some reason does not do it for me. The next category I'm going to read right now, since I got plenty of time, and that will end this chapter. I think I got plenty of time. Yeah, I can try to make it short. Yeah, I can try to make this short. Grocery shopping the Danish way. Now, I know it says the Danish way, and we're not Danish, unless you know that you're descended from Danes, which who knows how many of us are. But I've read this and I like it. Basically, she talks about how in In Canada, the U.S., and Australia, people visit the shopping center at least once a week for large amounts of food, while in other countries like France, Italy, and Japan, stop by specialty shops several times a week to pick up a small amount of perishable foods such as vegetables, fish, and meat. Is one way better than the other? That's a question mark. Not at all. Basically, what she goes to say is, you don't have to do the one unless you have no choice. But it's not always the wisest thing to do. Is not always to go do one big, 1 month total filling up your house with food once a month to fill it up, and hopefully it lasts a whole month. For a lot of people, it's kind of hard to do because of the factor either their income or their financial situation, their financial situations, or their just, how busy they are throughout the month. It is best, and I'm learning this now, and I think this is right. It is kind of best to do your perishable, like 1 week worth of perishables, or 2 weeks worth of perishables, so you don't have to worry about having to cook it all and eat it all before it spoils. A lot of times, perishables, depending on the condition of your refrigerator, freezer, or wherever you put it, depends on how long it lasts. Some refrigerators, unless you know how to tweak that temperature just right, there are certain areas of the refrigerator that will, like my bottom crisper in my refrigerator, acts like a mini freezer. If it's too cold, it freezes everything in there, and that damages the produce and causes it to spoil. My middle drawer, for some reason, you might have a week before the food starts to spoil, but I don't like letting it sit for more than a week, because if it starts turning colors and whatnot, I tend to kind of go, ew, no, this is no good, even though it might still be good. You just have to trim it, which Jerry's good at. But anyhow, let's see what her bullet points are. Her first bullet point is shop first, then plan second. So basically, she's saying is go to your grocery store, buy your foods, and then plan your meals around what you purchased. Don't sit at home planning out, okay, we need to buy this, this, and this because this is what I want. These are the food items I want during the week. No. It's best to basically buy your meat and your produce and then sit down and go, okay, this is what I have. Let's pull out our recipe book and see what we can make. Or this is what I have. I know I can make this, this, and this out of these items. She goes to sit there and say any coupon websites or frugal partnering. Sorry, I'm having trouble speaking all of a sudden. Blogs will tell you to make a meal plan and then shop accordingly. I disagree. So do I. Or she disagrees. So do I. Throughout Europe, South America, and Asia, shoppers look to see what items are fresh and priced well. Buy those things and then cook according to what you purchased. While this contradicts the way many Americans have been told to shop, it will save you money and ensure that you and your family enjoy the largest possible variety of fresh foods. I agree with that statement. I really do. Because there have been so many times where I've sat down and went, okay, these are the menu items that I want for this week. We need to go out and buy these items so I can have this variety of menu. That's great if you're planning a big cocktail dinner or some sort of big festivity where you need to plan ahead for your event. But if you do week to week food planning or things of that nature, it's not very economic or food conscious. Because what I've run into doing that myself is like, oh, I want to have this particular meal, but that means I'm going to have to run out to the grocery store to pick up some bok choy or cabbage or fresh mushrooms or whatever food items that go with that recipe that I do not have in my house. I agree with Jerry that it's easier to basically make food on the fly. Basically, what we mean by that is, okay, these are the meats that we have in our freezer. What can we make with those meats? In fact, I gotta pull out some pork chops. I just remember that. The hardest part about, especially here in America, we freeze a lot of our meats and whatnot, which I did not really realize this until I read it. The longer your meat product stays in your freezer, the different flavors or the changes to the natural order or natural chemicals of the food changes. So it is not always wise to store large amounts of food in a freezer for an extended period of time because it does alter its flavor or its texture. I didn't know that until recent years, and that's why I kind of go, all right, let's just buy enough to last us a week, even though that plan kind of goes awry every time we go shopping because Jerry likes to buy in bulk. I kind of understand it, but the thing is, here in the Midwest, buying in bulk can be dangerous because, especially during the summertime when it gets too hot, we have many blackouts. Basically, a blackout that can last a day or more. And if that happens, that means basically you have to limit your entry exit into your freezer or refrigerator because the food will start to spoil. And I hate throwing away food. I really do. All right, here's the next one. Shop once or twice a week. Many Americans adhere to a once a month or once a fortnight shopping, stocking up on addictive filled foods and frozen ingredients. Danes don't believe in stuffing a home with food that's meant to be eaten over the course of a few weeks. It is healthier. It is healthier for your body and your spirit to invest in fresh whole foods meant to be enjoyed immediately. Basically, like I said, it's best to have food in your house that will last a week and not bulk up or overstock your pantry, freezer, fridge, because it's better for your body and your spirit to have fresh foods. Find a good butcher. If you eat meat, poultry included, a good butcher can be a real money saver. A butcher can also expose you and your family to types and cuts of fresh meats that you may not otherwise try. Yeah. Unfortunately, butchers around here are not, they're few and far between. And the next one she says is find a good fishmonger. As with a good butcher, a good fishmonger is invaluable. Well, we don't live close to where we have a lot of fresh fish. And I really don't know how to cook fish. I would love to be able to move to a place that has like fresh caught fish where you can go down to the pier and purchase like fluke or flounder that's been descaled, deboned, and chopped up, or not chopped up, but filleted, basically. I have some. We got to get into that freezer and look at some of those meats because I got some meats in there that I don't know how long it's been in there, and if they're over frozen or frostbitten, they're no good. And Jerry did buy a package of pre-made flounder fillets. The other thing she says in here is frequent your farmer's market. Now here in Raleigh we do have during sometimes farmer's market during like the weekends, especially Saturday. I have been wanting to go for a while, but because of a lack of cash and things of that nature, I haven't gone. Because you can find some good fresh produce. All kinds of good fresh stuff. Let's see here. Eating local food in season is a powerful way to celebrate life. Danes use the appearance of certain foods to commemorate Earth's seasons. Needles and rhubarb in the spring, berries in the summer, apples and squash in the fall, and roots in the winter. Enjoying seasonal foods with your family connects you to the earth and creates a sense of awareness around and gratitude for what it creates for us. A lot of Europeans, this is my opinion, this is not in this book, a lot of Europeans do that because the factor they have they started out basically in ancient times as earth people, basically people who lived just like Native Americans, lived in harmony with the earth around them. Some Europeans, like Danes and Norwegians and Swedes, um, they stay connected in celebration to the earth because, factor, it's the earth that provides us with the nourishing foods that we eat. A lot of Americans and Christians, and I'm not downing Christians because I am still a Christian, don't feel that way. They want to say everything was provided by God. Yes, everything was provided by God, but guess what? God provided us the foods that are grown through the earth, or the cattle and whatnot, the various livestock that we eat, that eats hay and whatnot that we collect by growing the product to help the cows and sheep and pigs and all the different animals to be. It's all connected, and we're part of that connection. But so many people want to say, "Oh, no, we can do whatever we want, and God will still provide us." No, that's where I sit there and go, no. See, the thing is God gave it to us, but we are the stewards, the caretakers of this planet. But between greed and technology and the various evolutions of the different eras, from the Renaissance era to the Industrial era to the modern day era, digital age, the whole 9 yards, is on man. Thing is, if man does not take care of the earth is not going to take care of us. And God's just like, hey, this is free will. This is upon you. Don't blame me. You're the ones who decided to do all these things that are destroying the planet. That's my take. This is already 32 minutes. I got to try to finish this. Okay. Always buy a bouquet of flowers. Danish kitchen tables always feature a vase of blooms. Why? Flowers lighten the mood and add warmth to the home. If you're on a budget, try an inexpensive bunch of baby's breath or mini carnations. If money is especially tight, give your children colored paper and bamboo sticks or pipe cleaners and have them create a bouquet for the table. That sounds pretty cool. If you can't afford to purchase it, have the kids make them. That's interesting. Next one. Oh, this is the one that I literally, circled, highlighted, and basically I think this is like one of the best ones I read out of the book so far when it comes to the kitchen. Do not buy in bulk. Having a lot of food sitting around creates clutter, and for some people can create overeating. So basically, if you have a addiction to food or a habit of just eating until there's nothing left on your plate, this will basically help you out. Additionally, large amounts of stored food can lead to food waste. True. Even though a lot of the canned foods that we do buy, they're date stamped. Most everything, that's the only food that I know that does not have a date stamp on it and it has a very, 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 very long shelf life is an MRE, a military food ration. Most foods that we buy to be consumed in a short period of time have date stamped on them. Have you ever gone to your supermarket and looked very closely at the different dates on milk cartons? And usually you have roughly a week or less to consume carton of milk because it has a very short shelf life, even if you do keep it refrigerated. I've noticed that some milks, if you keep them longer than maybe 2 or 3 days after their expiration date, they go bad real quick. I mean, they spoil quickly. So if you don't drink a lot of milk, the smaller cartons may be better for you because then you'll consume the whole thing before the expiration date instead of having to toss half of a whole gallon because you only need half of a gallon. When Diane and I were away for a week, Mom bought herself a pint-sized gallon of milk so she'd have milk around, but it wouldn't spoil. Anyhow, let me finish that. Have you ever? Yeah, I just said this. Have you ever brought 5 of something and only use 1 or 2 by the time the item expires? Yeah, I think we all have. Next one. This one is an interesting one because it's like, okay, I understand it. She said to shop the perimeter where most of the produce, meat, fish, and bulk grains and dairy are. Avoid the interior aisles filled with convenient foods. You know the ones. They contain unhealthy sugary cereals, and any number of cookies, chips, canned soups, boxed pasta meals, and so forth. Okay, yeah, I see what she's talking about because the fact that most of the interior aisles is like your condiments or, the only aisles that I like going down when I go shopping by myself, especially if it's a list item, is I try to make sure that I stick to that list. So I'm only going down the aisles that I need to go to for like ketchup, soy sauce, teriyaki sauce, my condiments basically. I try not to go down the canned food aisle unless it's for like canned chili or beans or something of that nature. I try not to go down the cereal aisle anymore because I don't consume cereal anymore. I can't even remember the last time I had a bowl of cereal. Not because of the fact that we didn't have milk, but because of the fact that I'm trying to watch what I eat. So the only time I go down aisles is for like things that I know I need from that aisle. Try to avoid cereals. I try to avoid snack foods. I try to avoid, the boxed, pre-prepped type meals where all you have to do is brown a pound of ground beef and then add the package and let it cook like Hamburger Helper. I still look down the aisle for like canned tuna fish, things of that nature. Most of the time when you look at like the tuna fish or certain kinds of canned products, you can either do one of two things. You can either go, okay, I know I need this, grab your favorite brand or whatnot, or I need it, but I want to be conscious of what I'm eating. Look at the ingredients. If the top 3 ingredients, which are usually the higher amount of what's in your can, is a preservative, an additive, or a sweetener, you might not want it. If a preservative like sodium benzoate or sodium of any form, sugar, whether it's brown sugar, molasses, or regular sugar cane, or it's got too much salt, it's a high amount of sodium, which is also the same thing with sodium benzoate. Basically, if it's a preservative, an additive, or a sweetener, look at the table. The table that tells you how much sugar, how much sodium, how much carbohydrates. If sugar, sodium, or carbohydrates are higher than any other ingredient, you might want to look for one that has a lower amount of sugar, sodium, or carbs. Because sugar, sodium, and carbs are 3 of the worst things to add in your body, especially if you have health issues like me. I need to try to find foods that are lower in carbs, lower in sodium, and lower in sugar because of the factor of my cholesterol. Cholesterol is another one. Sometimes it'll tell you how much cholesterol in grams per serving. Look for a low level because if you have blood disorders, heart disorders, or joint problems, the carbs the cholesterol, sodium, and sugar are not going to be good for you. I've learned that the hard way. Um, next suggestion she has in here is shop early or late. A cozy life leaves time for the things you care about. There's no need to spend your valuable time trudging behind people in a supermarket or waiting on a checkout line. Visiting the market at off hours, which is basically non peak hours, at the beginning or end of your day can save time, minutes, or hours you can use to read, hang out with your kids, or squeeze in another load of laundry. Food is an enormous part of how humans create and offer comfort to others. Use this beautiful practice as a powerful and easy way to create coziness in your life while fostering connections with those around you. You will be delighted at the results. Now, that was her shopping and whatnot at the end, and I agree with a lot of those things. If you have a busy day, whether it's busy with house stuff, busy work life, busy family life, there are so many things in our world, in our lives, that take up a lot of our time. And if you can find ways to decrease the amount of time that it takes you to do simple things like shopping or house chores or your work life. If you can find ways to make it easier and you're not spending as much time doing those things, even though they are important, that you can spend more time with your family, your kids, especially if you have kids, things of that nature, it would be better for you and everybody around you in the long run. Because one, you're able to relax. You're able to let go of all the crazy things that are going on in your life that cause you turbulence of one form or another. We Americans especially are the worst of all the nations when it comes to stress, hectic lifestyles, constantly on the go, doing a lot of stuff that is not really necessary, that's causing either physical stress, or psychological stress, or spiritual stress. It seems to be getting dark. It's better if you can find ways to decrease that stress or decrease the time that you spend doing stuff that should not be so crazy. I've seen both city life and country life when it comes to certain times of the year when most people are in a frenzy or their lifestyle gets a little bit even more crazier is the holidays. The holidays are the worst time of the year here in America because from right before or right after Halloween to right after the New Year's, almost 3 months of just insanity because we are running around prepping for holidays, trying to prep for parties, trying to get our kids' costumes ready, or Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner planned out and send out the invitations and see all who's coming and all the different things we do, from the decorations to the prep work to just the service. And that factor, during the same time, we're having to deal with our everyday insanity of a lifestyle. You know, you got work, you got kids, you got the house to deal with, you got husband to deal with, you got food to deal with, you got to deal with trying to keep your house clean, grocery shopping, calls from who knows whom, trying to bide for your time, trying to take up your time. That most people either get so stressed out they either have heart problems or psychological stress disorders or anxiety or disorders or health issues of one form or another that are not part of the norm that is supposed to be human life. I look at a lot of the European lifestyle and even the Asiatic lifestyle. They are so calm and serene, and they're not rushing around. They're not letting the unnecessary parts of life drag them down into health disorders of one form or another, or stressing about dinner, or next week's book club reading, or any of that stuff. And they do everything we do. They have everything we have. You know, they might not have as much fast food or quick foods or anything like that, but they still have the business life. They have the family life. They have to deal with bills and meals and parties. But they're so laid back about everything that it drives me nuts, because it's like, that's my lifestyle. The way they live over there is my lifestyle, but I can't afford to move over there. That in factor, one of the things I do know about Europe, in most countries in Europe, is when you go over there to be a citizen, they're not going to bend over backwards to accommodate you to live there. That you are the one who has to learn to live with them, speak their language, deal with their rules and regulations and whatnot. We're the only country that I know that bends over backwards to accommodate people from foreign countries who want to live here in America. That's fine and dandy. That's the American way. All right. If I had the financial fortitude or whatnot to be either a dual citizenship or to be what they're calling an expat or expatriate, yeah, I might, if I can learn Swedish or Danish or Norwegian, or relearn German, or just move to like the UK, I might consider it. I don't know. But the thing is, it doesn't have to do, it doesn't, me moving over there has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the fact that we can live that way if we just learn to slow down. If the whole of America were to slow down and relax and not be so about everything, our nation would probably be as great as it was back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, before Vietnam, basically, or before the Cold War, which was Vietnam. But there's no reason why we can't, as individuals, try our best to incorporate things like American Cozy, things of that nature. But anyhow, next time I'm going to read this, we are talking about cozy celebrating holidays and special occasions. I have to literally sit down and read tonight because I didn't get this far. So hopefully I'll be able to sit down tonight and read some of that, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. I am sorry, but not sorry that this is almost a 50-minute video. I know I have a hard time making short videos, especially when I start talking about stuff that I'm really interested in, like American Cozy or Norseman, Norse Viking, however you want to call them, things of that nature. That's just who I am. I get excited and whoa. Anyhow. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments about this particular video or the contents within the book that was in this video, go ahead and put them in the question comment box. I am more than happy to discuss any more information or any further, or answer questions. You've already seen that multiple times. So, like I said, if you have any questions or comments about this video, go ahead and put it in the question comment box. If you're new to my channel and you've watched previous videos on cozy, Let's Cozy or cozifying or anything that has the word cozy in it, and you liked what you just heard about the kitchen and shopping and whatnot, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Once you hit that subscribe button, YouTube will put in, or will, You hit the subscribe button. YouTube will have a little bell pop up. You click on that bell, and YouTube will let you know I put in my next video. So I hope you enjoy. You have a good day. Bye.